doesn't work either. Does that work? Doesn't look like it. Alright, I'm gonna try without the live stream, see if that does it, or the live chat. Alright, so that dyno pull was Rich's balls. In a fuel final, you can see it goes into the 10s, and the air-fuel ratio at the tailpipe did in fact go to the 10s, so I can lean it out now. Always like to make sure that it's accurate, that it's going where I think it's going, before I start pulling fuel out. During the tune, otherwise, you know, who knows? Who knows where it can go? Hey, it didn't crash. So the live chat for some reason is messing it up. Main fuel final still 10.6. Still kind of 10.6. Yeah, I'm not seeing any change of tailpipe. It's really rich for 14 pounds of boost. I don't like that at all. Wow. 304, huh? 304. It's 100 horsepower less than them showing at the wheel, or more than them showing at the wheels. I mean, timing's really conservative, but only seeing 200 at the wheels doesn't make sense. I'm seeing 10 to 1 at the freaky tailpipe. With a command of 10.6. Huh. Half calibration looks fine. Ejector scale is correct. Latency is correct. It's an awful lot of fuel. Probably on the wrong fuel map. Yeah. I'm on the reflash fuel map, not the real-time fuel map, due to the weather conditions here right now. So that's a shame. Makes it a little harder to tune like that. It runs really good though. It seems to run really well. Let's go to a math comp and see where that's at. Zero. Load comp. 0 and 0. That's annoying. So it gets really rich right at $6,000, which is weird. I mean, there is this step here, but it is definitely rich at $6,000. Like this. Just make some lines, some straight lines for now. Oops. Wrong button. Dynamic adder. Let's see what my condition's set at. Dynamic. Low. Low. That's high. That's good. Do want to lower that timing right here, like I said I wanted to before. Pull 1.5 degrees out. I'll pull a couple degrees out. There. 3. Right here. Okay. Oh, it had timing too. I don't like this map. I don't like it like that. I don't see a point in that. If anything, we'd have less down here. Misty minus 50. High loads. All of it. Here. Knock barely happens up there. The big knock ranges are right here though. It's the biggest knock areas right in this range, a higher load. So we'll do that. Got that super conservative right now for the base map. I have that time back in, down in this area. I just grabbed it for the base map from right here. Where was it? Right here, and I hit minus minus. So I'm just gonna plus plus that again. Bring that spot back up. Reblend this section like that. Alright. Gotta flash this, unfortunately. Might have some boost while I'm doing it. 14 pounds. So 14 PSI target, or I'm sorry, 14 PSI at 0 wastegate duty cycle. So when I get my targets in here, I'm actually going to compare to an existing map, so I can just cut the middleman. Where is a good one with a 2.15? This one probably is a good one. It's a decent 1.5 target map. Alright. So, bring this target map in. I like it. Okay. Now, I know that it makes 14 on the gate. So I don't want to add any wastegate duty cycle here at 330 because it'd make the car oscillate. This is something for Kurt especially. He was talking about his boost before. But I know at 15.9 or 16, I need a little bit add to the gate to get that. But I'm definitely need to pass that. So if I look at 340 and up, I need to add wastegate duty to that. So I go back to my wastegate duty table here and I look. So 330 is right here. This is going to yield me 14 at 0. So I don't want to add anything there. Now, in factory form, there's a lot added there because the wastegate pressure on the Fat Turbo is 7 pounds. But this is 14 pounds, so I don't want anything to the left of that. Now, at 340, my target was only like 16 pounds. So I'm just going to do a blanket 5 right now. And then at 350, my target was 16.5, whatever. So I'll make this a blanket 10 right there, like that. Now I'll make these upper ones here 20 and a 15.
Hey Dom.
Yeah, dude, what's up?
What do you sell your crank pulleys for?
165.
165?
Yeah.
What's your availability on those?
I got them at home.
Okay. Alex is here and his crank pulley is wobbling all over the place.
Who's
And
Alex?
I was like, he's a customer. And I was
Okay.
like, you should replace that ASAP, and then he asked what I recommended, so.
Yeah. Yeah, mine definitely won't wobble.
You said 165?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so that's what I'm going to do initially, and then as I get a feel for how it behaves, then I will adjust it and add taper to it as needed, maybe a little tail off at the end, might go up, might go down, we'll see how the turbo behaves. Typically it goes up a smidge on this turbo, and then I add a little more duty cycle down low with lower RPM to try and make it spool a little faster. But honestly, it's doing really good already. It's actually doing surprisingly well, and so what that'll look like is I'll take this area here, for example, and might make it 90, something like that. In fact, I'll just do it now, fuck it. Now, if you do it too close, though, you need your boost to overshoot, which you don't want to have happen. The other thing you want to do is to prevent integral windup on your boost control system is go to your turbodynamics, go to your activation, minimum RPM, bump that up. I did already. That prevents the integral from winding up while you're in an area where the turbo can never make boost in the first place. So I did that. Also, temperature compensation on these is set really high. I got to change that too, actually. Because I moved the intake air temp sensor and because the system has a different set point in general, I start with half, and that gives me an idea. I've had to go down as far as 0.2, so 20% of what it is. And then here, I don't need to add a 15% because 15% is definitely going to do quite a bit of boost. So I'm going to lower that down to 10. That just keeps my integral from winding up too far and all of that. These are... Why are they 0? What the fuck is going on? Oh wow, that's a trip. Okay, so I had no integral at all. Luckily I didn't try and do any boost yet. I must have hit 0 on it without realizing it. Alright, so there we go. Now I have the function integral. Perfect. Now we're going to flash this. Yeah, well, if you're welcome back to the stream, if you were in it earlier, you see how I'm on the 4th version of the stream. I had some OBS issues. I think they're solved now. I did a poll. I didn't drop anything. And I think the issue was because I was feeding the live chat back into OBS, and I think it just didn't like it. I don't know why, but apparently it's an issue with OBS. It's a known issue. I would like to include the live chat, in the stream, because I've had people say, "Hey, I can't watch the chat in your stream," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know, why," but make this bigger now, since I don't have the chat over there. I see the horsepower actually goes up. Oh, you know what? My temperature says like 12 degrees. I didn't hook the temp probe up. Good. Glad to hear it. New boost controller on order. Good. I love the factory boost controller for the factory turbo. I tell people all the time, don't change it. You guys put 3 ports on the stock turbo. It makes no fucking sense to me. I cover that actually in my boost control video. So if you haven't seen my boost control comparison video or how it works, the video, do that. I also have a turbocharger comparison video that I think is very handy for people that don't understand what they're looking at with turbochargers. So if you haven't seen those videos, go back. It's many hundreds of videos ago, but look at my comparing turbochargers video. There's 2 parts of that, and my boost controller videos. There's 2 of those, part 1 and part 2. Those cover pretty much everything you need to know about boost control on one of these cars. And you might need to watch it once or twice to understand all the concepts, but it's a great series for learning or understanding what's going on with boost control. So, all right, so I got ABCS. We see that's active, but my O2 sensor is not, which is really annoying. I don't know why it's not warmed up. Typically, that's FA behavior. Typically, an FA will give you like 20 minutes of no air fuel sensor. It's like, don't need to warm that up for you. Eat a dick. But the EJs typically are a little faster, so. There we go. Now she's here. Now it's important that the O2 sensor is running before you start dyno pull, because there is post-start enrichment that stays in. It doesn't go away until the O2 sensor wakes up, because they don't want to go lean and misfire and hesitate, so they run it a smidge rich until the sensor warms up. Beautiful. So that wasted duty cycle wasn't enough to cause it to make any more boost. Maybe a quarter of a PSI, and that's it. But the air fuel is spot on. Those last changes I made were exactly what it needed. They're right on, and power is now 291.9. So the ignition helped as well. And really, the ignition probably helped with the fueling too, because I had it so conservative that probably wasn't getting a complete burn, and that was why the ratios were so damn rich. And that's something to think about too. It's kind of hard to grasp sometimes, but if you're not lighting up the air fuel mixture and burning it at the right time, you'll have a lot of unburnt mixture leaving the engine. Now look here, my timing is still really conservative for 13 and a half, 14 pounds of boost. I've only got 17 degrees at 6,000. That is not a lot of timing. At peak boost, at lower RPM at 4,000, at 13 psi, I only got 14 degrees of timing. So that is really conservative, and I'm fine with that. I'm gonna mess with the boost and get it where I want it before I start adding more timing. It was clean. There was no knock feedback or anything that I saw, and AVCS is tracking as it is currently programmed. So that is good to go there. I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to add more duty cycle to the wastegate. Oh shoot, I closed that, didn't I? This is the last one. Yeah, it's the last one. Shit. I didn't expect 20% to do it. That's not true. I expect 20% to give me some boost, but it didn't. I didn't expect everything else to. Oh, you know, I didn't look at it. I should have looked. I didn't even look. That was not the best judgment of mine. I should have checked that out. Let me take a peek here. Just adding some percentage to my wastegate maps. Save that. What am I at now? 28 degrees right now. Remember, this is post intercooler. This isn't even into the turbo. This is post intercooler. So I got a pretty big fan on. It's on high, blowing on the intercooler. As you can see, it's 20-something degrees outside. And if they shoot up, that tells you a lot of what you need to know about your turbo, your intercooler, all that stuff. And that's why I always recommend that you move the IAT post intercooler, because those IAT temperatures, they will surprise you. They will surprise you how high they get. And you'll be like, oh shit. The ECU has no way of knowing that that's how high they are if you don't do it. Alright, 311. Air fuel's the same. Boost went up about a pound and a half. Really? That's it, huh? A pound and a half? Huh. That's crazy. With 28% on the gate, 30% on the gate. It only went up like a pound and a half. Huh. I don't like that. I feel like that's a lot of duty cycle to only get a pound and a half of boost. Now, I don't think it's a boost leak because the air fuels are tracking where they should be. But it doesn't mean that the bypass valve isn't lifting. Now, they have an aftermarket bypass valve, and I fucking hate it. It's a go fast bits on here. And I started twitching. That's how much I hate it. I would not be surprised if that is starting to lift, and that's what's reducing our boost. We're not actually losing boost, we're losing air to the atmosphere, but we're bypassing through the intercooler, basically, acting the suction of the turbo again, and that would reduce my airflow into the engine, and it would raise exhaust back pressure quite a bit, and that would blow the gate open sooner. And with 30% on the gate, man, I don't like that. Let me see what frequency I have operating at. I should have it operating at like 25 to 28 hertz, which I do. So yeah, it should. It's not like I have the gate set wrong or the solenoid set wrong. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm gonna add more to it anyways because I'm reckless. Just kidding. I want to see what kind of response I'm getting. You know, sometimes you reach like a toe point, and then all of a sudden you get a lot of boost. So I might just be away from that toe point a little bit. Okay, try that. So 42% up to 50%, and I finally hit my boost target. Huh. I'm not a fan of this. 50% and it only adds 3 pounds? In 12-degree weather? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. Alright. Motherfucking blow off valves. Full atmospheric. God damn it. Alright, see what happens. Oops. First time driving stick. Oh, there it is. I heard it open there. Got a bunch of dash lights when that happens.
It only moved when you shifted.
Okay.
Gave me a good blow in the face, though. Do you want me to close it?
Yeah. I had a few lights pop up on the dash that went away. They would carry during the pull. One of them looked like battery and something else. So there might be a loose ground on here or something. Might be something we're looking at. But the reason I'm doing that is because it's I got 50% duty cycle and only added 3 psi to it. And that seemed really weird. But I didn't change anything other than fucking with that valve. And I just added 2 pounds of boost to it by twisting that valve back and forth. So I think that valve might be lifting. Because I didn't change a fucking thing since the last pull. I was like, that's something right. It did that. And the boost went up 2 pounds. So I think that valve's probably just a piece of shit. I want to try and tighten that Allen more on it.
Okay.
Turn it, recirc, and tighten the Allen is what I want to do with that too. All they do is fit. That's good. There you go. Alright, yeah, there was no preload on that thing. Let's get it. Boost it up. Yeah. Alright, see what happens here. I'm too fast on that. No. But the lights still came on again. During the pull.
That's kind of a weird one.
Yeah. It's it was battery and something else on the left there. I don't know which one it was. But they came in like that during the pull. So there might be a loose ground or some shit somewhere too. But it went, I mean, I'm like, and look, I don't catch it, you know, and then it starts happening again. I just had to look at the tach, and he goes, bing, bing. So 2 lights over here. Let's see which ones. Look, it might have been battery. It's either battery and oil or battery and rear diff temp.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to check all the grounds when it's done.
Hopefully not oil.
What?
Hopefully not oil.
Yeah.
So we tightened up the valve a little bit, wiggled the thing. It didn't make a difference from the last pull, but from the last pull and before that, there was a big difference just by wiggling the The valve itself, I hate those valves. So it starts at 45. It's really slow to build. So if it's really slow to build like this, so we got 2 pounds, and it's not adding duty cycle very quickly, that means that the integral is not high enough. And what that probably means is in the boost control tables, you saw me mess with them earlier, in the turbodynamics, compensation, this section here, we're down here in this low temperature, and so it's reducing the turbodynamics by 30%. That's a lot, especially when I've already reduced the turbodynamics to keep from being too sensitive because of the turbo. Now this is a little on the low side, but if I compare it to stock, again, the different wastegates, all that kind of stuff. We see stock is 5, so I have it less than half of what factory would be, and that's not surprising if the gate only needs to move 30%. You'd expect that, but right now I'm at 50% to add a few psi. So I'm actually going to bring this up and bring it closer to the factory one, but not a lot closer. That's the key there. I'm only going to add about 45% to this one, and I'm going to add 45% to this one. Actually, I'm going to add 55% to this one. I still want to be able to pull down boost quickly if it needs to. That's also what the proportional behaves in here, and this is also, I'm going to add a little bit to the proportional, 20%, 25%, because I wanted to give it a little more authority in that area to respond quicker to boost changes. Now, proportional doesn't do jack when you're next to your set point. Proportional is more when you're really far from your set point. So you can, in fact, go close to stock and have this be really big and have this one be really small, and it'll aggressively push you towards a thing. So I'm actually going to go 5 here, like this, and then I'll go -5 here. And that'll only try and push it close to your target faster, but then you see it reduces way down as you get close to your target. So it only really has an effect when you're away from it by a distance. The integral, on the other hand, is continually adding to it, and so it's over time. So as you come in, you're not losing integral here. You're still adding integral. You're just adding a smaller portion as you approach your target, like we have here. So I added a few percent here and there. And the temp thing, yeah, this is 30%. I think this is too much still. Remember earlier in the stream I said that I usually take this and I can go as little as 20% of what it was. So I'm going to do that, like so. Now that one requires a reflash, so I do have to disconnect to do that, and then I reflash it. The other ones, are real-time adjustments, so I didn't have to disconnect for those. But anyways. Now, the reason I turned these down really far is because these are more dependent on the inlet temperature to the turbo. If you think about what this is doing, what it's saying is when the air is less dense, we know we got to try harder to make boost. That's what we're saying with this. The problem is that we moved the IAT and now it's post-intercooler, so the density of that air is dependent on the turbo itself as much as it is atmospheric temperature. So if you think about it that way, now what I'm looking at is if the air coming out of the intercooler is hot, I don't want to keep trying to push boost in the engine. And if it's really cold, then turn it on. Sorry. If it's really cold post-turbo, then that means that it's definitely cold pre-turbo. And so I still want to pull some out there, but I don't want to go too crazy with it. Because there's also wastegate trims based on this. This is just how sensitive the controls are to it. And it's just saying that, if it's really cold, the controls are more sensitive, which we expect with really dense air. Now, when we get to wastegate duty based on temperature, there's trims for that, which you definitely want to take into account. Which is in the wastegate duty tab. If you go to intake temp comp, then we have this. Now, you see here we got 15% being pulled. That's probably too much because we're down here right now. This is probably too much. But we'll find out. I don't want to pull off that too quickly. But you have to think about it too, though, right, with this. Now, if I have it minus 25 right now, I hit my boost pretty good, is adding 25 going to be too much to add when it gets hot? Probably. So I'm probably going to have to cut that down anyways. And again, that's based on what car you got, all that kind of stuff. So I'll probably end up killing that down, probably to half of what it is before I let it go. One thing I also do is I'll take it and I'll lower it down here. And I'll lower it here because we're now post intercooler, right? And for post intercooler and my IATs are getting to 170, I don't want it to hit the boost target. I don't want it to get way up there in the boost target. I want it to have less ability to do that because I want to save the motor. I don't want to push 180 degree air into the engine, you know, at the high boost targets that we set. So I don't mind knocking that down some to protect the engine. A lot of my tunes you'll see have that spot up top pulled down some. Okay, on, lock, traction control. I'll get back online. Let's save this. Get back online. Well, it took a while to connect that time. Alright, O2 sensor is live. AVCS is functioning, so we shouldn't be in any post-start enrichment. Closed loop fuel target and commanded fuel are both around stoichiometric ratio, so that means that we should be good to go. It's clean. I can see the the battery light come on. That pole. Boost was a little more aggressive. The wastegate duty. I said duty. The dynamics were a little more aggressive, but not a lot. I definitely could ask it to be more aggressive there. Yeah, it could definitely be faster. Okay, so I'm going to keep restoring those dynamics closer to stock and bump them back up, make them more aggressive. This temperature one, though, is probably affecting me. It's probably why it sits for a while. It has to overcome the 15% from temperature that we had pulling out of it. So I knocked, or 20%. So I knocked that down some. I might knock it down a little more even. 8, 7. No, I'll pull a tiny bit more out. I don't pull too much out. That's looking like it's about where it's going to want to be with cold temps and hot temps. Okay. And then this one, torsional. Got a little more of the integral. Let me go back to stock first. And then I'm going to pull 20% out of it. Like that. See if we can get to be just a little more aggressive. I don't want to go and induce an oscillation. Definitely want to induce an oscillation. I might add a little bit to the proportional as well. Alright. Let's see what we get. Oh, shit. I did a reflash table, didn't I? I also want to check my boost limit. Make sure I don't go blasting into boost limit. Oh, yeah, see, I'm close. I got it set at 21 right now. So let's raise that. Okay. That's a lot of hysteresis. I don't like that. Make it tighter. Have you got any questions I can answer while this is happening? This is not good for my back. Hurt my back a week or so ago. It's been killing me. Sitting in this position is not good. Not to complain to you guys about it. But I'm old. Are there any decent aftermarket bypass valves? I don't know the answer to that. I don't like any of them. The Cobb one works pretty good, I guess. I don't like any of them that have. All right, this is gonna be a little bit of a rant, so I hope you're okay with that. So, a long time ago, Synapse started making the worst fucking blow-off valves and wastegates known to man, and they touted them as like super engineered, better. I think they even said ditch the diaphragm and a bunch of shit like that in their marketing. Okay, and ever since then, everyone has really stayed away from diaphragms, and I can tell you that almost every single aftermarket blow-off valve or bypass valve doesn't have a diaphragm. No part of me thinks this is a good idea. The only benefit that I can see in not having a diaphragm is that you don't have a diaphragm to blow out if your boost pressure is really high. But if you need something that's responsive, you want a fucking diaphragm. If you make the entire operating surface area of your bypass valve or whatever it is metal, then you increase the mass of your disc and everything, which makes it respond slower. And designing a valve properly with just a steel moving disc that acts as both the diaphragm and the valve and everything is extremely expensive, and if not nearly impossible to do completely correct. You want something that moves quickly, that responds well, minimizes surge, all of that doesn't, because on a shift it lifts and then it's got to shut again, right? Like there's all this mass that you shift really quick, it lifts for a second and it takes a while to shut again, it takes a while to get your boost back, right? All kinds of things. And when you lift, it takes a while to open, you get a pressure wave in the intake tract anyways, then eventually it opens up and bleeds from that pressure out, but you still have that pressure wave. All of the diaphragmless systems, I think, are pretty poopy. The most recent one being really terrible is the Grimspeed one. That one's comically bad. That one's so fucking bad, you can hear it not working. And then they tell you, oh, that's just the way you made it sound. You go, like, no, that's your turbo stalling in the air. No, it's the valve chattering or whatever fucking bullshit they tried to sling on their YouTube thing. That thing is a complete abortion. Like, that is terrible. What a terrible valve. So, are there any good aftermarket ones? I don't think so. Because they all get rid of the diaphragm. And they all trying to go with this hard metal disc that responds slowly. In order to respond quickly, you need a lot of surface area. If you get a lot of surface area without a diaphragm, you need a lot of metal. A lot of metal means a lot of weight. A lot of weight means slow fucking response. The only benefit is that it isn't an elastic thing that can go pop, which barely ever fucking happens anyways. So, yeah, no, I don't think so. I honestly don't think there are any good ones. I use the factory one. If it has to hold more boost, then I take the boost reference from the inside of it, where it goes to the next to the valve. I plug that hole and I drill in the side of it, and I make it atmospheric reference. That gives it like another 20 psi holding capability. Slows it down a smidge in response, but it's still way fucking faster than a big steel diaphragm disc combination thing that almost all of them go by. And they do it because it's cheap. They give you some bullshit line about why it's better, but they really do it because it's cheap and it's easy. When you got to mount a diaphragm to a steel disc, that's another step in the processing that you have to go through. And you got to buy the diaphragms. They ain't cheap either. They're expensive materials to handle the heat and the pressure and to still be flexible and all that stuff. Like, they're not cheap. And you either have to use an existing diaphragm or you have to get one custom made. All that is way more expensive than push and go on the lathe and having a piece of bar get turned down to be your disc shape. So they do it because it's cheaper. That's why the factory one is so goddamn expensive, right? Or one of the reasons. And then they teach you some bullshit about why it's better. So I don't think there's a good bypass valve on the market. Especially not Go Fast Bits. I hate that valve. Especially not Grimspeed. That one's just comically upsetting. Almost as bad as their AOS. And definitely not Turbo XS, because those are absolutely horrendous. And then Boombas all leak and don't work. So, no. I think the answer is no. Fourth gear in a manual, auto, yeah, that's a tough one. So, basically, if somebody contacts me with an auto Subaru that wants a tune, I tell them to get fucked. Because fuck tuning an auto Subaru that you can't lock in gear because it likes to downshift. You try and do it in third gear, it drops into second, like every time. You do it in second gear, it's way too much torque multiplication, and you can't do a good pull. It's not reliable. The pull goes by really fast. It isn't realistic. The car tries to jump off the dyno. Yeah, no thank you. I don't do them. I don't tune Subaru 4-speed autos. I don't tune Subaru autos. They're absolute trash. The CVT is actually surprisingly good for tuning on the dyno. I will tune the CVT on the dyno. Why won't this thing connect? Yeah, I'll tune the CVT on the dyno. I used to say no CVTs, but that was only because I had assumed that it was as bad as the automatic, and I was wrong. I did one a little while later. Oh, I have no power to the access port. Interesting. Okay, now it's got power. All right. I had improperly assumed that the CVT was going to be as bad or worse than the automatic, and I was wrong. It's significantly better, especially because of the sport mode. You can lock it in, and it stays in way better than any of the super automatics do. So, well then, good. We're in third from 2,000 RPM redline. I've never had one ever stay in second gear. They always downshift when I give them full throttle, and that's just scary. Okay, one knock event on that pole. It attacked the boost quicker, that's for sure. It attacked boost quicker. It added some down low. We'll see that here. Yeah, see much faster it comes in now. 48, and actually gets the target way faster. That's good. Timing's good and conservative. Where did I get the event at? Where's it at? Oh, at tip in. Okay, so that wasn't even a fucking. So that's not. That's a tip in event. I should have been paying attention to that. That won't happen again. That probably won't replay. I mean, is it really knocking at 8 degrees of timing? No. No, that'd really be something if it was. Okay. Cool. I'm pretty much done here. Yeah, test it again. I've never had one stay in third. Unless you start at like 3,500. And even then, it's only sometimes, but it don't start at 3,500. Unless I have like a gigantic turbo and I'm on this dyno, then I have to start higher. Sometimes high as $4,000. Because this dyno operates off of ramp rate. Let's try it again. I don't think it's going to do tip in knocking in. I'll be more cautious with how I tip it in. Boy, the car's trying to get loose on the dyno. What's the IET at the end of the pole? I feel like that's going up. Oh yeah, it is, for sure. Now, this IAT, it's not that accurate. And I'm only saying that because it's a GM sensor and they're not as fast as people think they are. You can see here, for example, I let off up here and the temp keeps going up for a ways, or stops, but it goes up after I let off. So that sensor is getting heat in it and it's trying to catch up the temperature. Now, it's really hard for any temperature sensor to provide you fast response. These just aren't exceptionally fast. There are faster ones. The one I sell is significantly faster than this. The rifle one is really fast. And part of that is the mass, right? That GM one's got that big slug on the end of it. There's a lot of mass in that. It takes a while for that to heat up. So it's not as fast of a sensor as mine, which is the tiny little NTC thermistor in there. That little guy is really small, and so it heats up a lot quicker. But this is a GM sensor, so it's only so good. But that means that right here, when it says 50, it's probably 70. And up here where it says 70 or 80, it's probably 100 degrees. It's definitely lagging behind. Now, that's still better than reading at the inlet of the turbo where it's still going to be saying 28. right? Or something like that. So it's still a benefit. But one reason I use my sensor is because it is faster responding than the GM one. But it's harder to put in top mounts that are factory because you have to weld that bung on and there's not much room. So if this was a Grimspeed one, intercooler or something top mount, it would have my sensor on it. But it's not. It's got a GM one. So that's why. Otherwise, I think I'm done. I like where the car is at. The power's good. I'm not having any knock other than that one tip and knock, but that should happen on occasion. Everything is tracking really well. The boost is nice and steady. I've had no issues with boost control other than it needing more than I thought it would need. I haven't looked at the horsepower curve though, so I'll probably do that. Yeah, that's great. Great horsepower torque. Let me reset this, get rid of all the extra bullshit on there. See if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably not. My laptop's on the cable, so I can't do anything. But the curve is. Sure, it's really easy to see it. They're bouncing around. It's nice and smooth, and it crosses at 52.52. Yeah, you can't see that. All right. And crossing at 52.52 is a good way of knowing that your tuner is not screwing with your numbers, trying to blow smoke up your ass, or adding huge multipliers to the readings, which a lot of them do, unfortunately. And it's easy to see if your horsepower and torque are on the same axis, and they both say like 600 at the top, and then horsepower crosses at like 4,000 RPM or 3,000 RPM, your tuner's lying to you. He's added a multiplier to the horsepower value, 20%, 30%. They do it. A lot of them do it. Especially one of these local guys. He adds a huge correction on there. Tells people their cars are making 900 a wheel when they're making 500, 600. It's comical when I watch the videos. So if it's not crossing 50-52, either the graph axes are wrong or they've added a huge correction, or both. But here, 50-52, same axis, 400 on each. No bullshit corrections. So, anyways, that's it. I'm done with this car. I'm happy with where it's at. I got to hopefully help you guys understand how boost control works a little more. A little bit on spark plugs, foils. What else are we talking about? Intercoolers a little bit, bypass valves, and a few other things. So I hope that was somewhat beneficial. And I'm sorry to have another camera to put up outside the car. I did this kind of last minute. I didn't plan on doing it really. And I will be doing some other stuff. I'm going to have a slight turn on the stream from where it's been lately, or the channel. I'm going to continue doing streams when I actually tune cars, but most of it's going to be standalones. I am going to be doing more streams where I'm designing products. I just have to be careful about those because I don't want to give away my own IP or my own designs while I'm building something. But I'm going to do a few more things with SolidWorks and things like that, showing people how the process designing parts. I also want to do some reviews. What I want to do is I decided today that I want to do a towing review on the Subaru Ascent because it's rated at 5,000 pounds of towing. I want to see how it actually performs towing at its rated capacity, and then compare it to other SUVs like my Blazer, for example, that's rated at 45. I look at the two cars side by side, look at their specs, look at their brakes, look at the stuff, and I don't think there's any way that the Ascent could possibly do better than the Blazer, but it's possible. And so I want to see that, and I want to do a few other things. That being said, I'm in school right now, and it's winter, so those things won't be happening this winter, the reviews and stuff. Also, I have a bunch of car builds going on right now. I'm building my Corvette, building my RS, and I got some build stuff to do on the BMW, and the side-by-side, doing a turbo kit for the side-by-side. So I've got a lot of stuff going on right now. And unfortunately, I'm so scatterbrained with it that I end up throwing like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, back and forth, and not just like tracking one project from beginning to end. And a lot of people like to see the progression, through it. And it makes it a little harder when I throw stuff in here and there. But I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on making it more linear with the projects. That being said, next semester I am taking more classes, so I'll have even less time to do it. But this is my last chance to utilize the rest of my GI Bill. Um, GI Bill expires in October, mine does. So I want to use as much as I can before it is over. I mean, I spent time in the military, so I should probably capitalize on the allotments, that I put money into. So that is what the next 7 months or so holds for me. It's Christmas. I get to see my daughter. I'm excited about that. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, so I'm super happy about that. I am really, really, really excited about that. A lot. So that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a great Christmas, and I hope that I'm not the only one that has a great Christmas. I hope you guys also have a great Christmas. If I don't stream again before then, I doubt that would be the case. But in case for some reason I don't, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I hope that your holiday season is well. And I hope that if you're in an area like I am where it's supposed to snow a butt whack in the next day, that you're safe and you have backup power or at least heat and food and water and that kind of stuff and contact the people. So that's it. Yeah, be safe on the roads. Have a good holiday, and I wish you all the best. And obviously, killing the live chat fixed the streaming issue, so we'll go with that. Anyways, have a good one.